Hello, beautiful people. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here today. This is my first video podcast, guys. This is my first video podcast. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify podcast, just know that I can now be found on YouTube and I am beyond excited to finally be launching the video part of Ruth Be Told. I didn't expect to be launching this soon. I wanted it to continue on audio for now to get comfortable, but I felt it was time. Okay, I thought it was time, and as you can tell, I am so excited to get this started. And we're going to be talking about a topic today that is so dear to my heart, guys. It is so dear to my heart, and I am happy that it's going to be on video to for you to see me, the person you've been listening to on audio. And if you're just finding me for the first time, you're quite early. I started this podcast in March and I have really just put out like 4 episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, really anywhere you really listen to your podcast. But today, if you're seeing me for the first time, you're early. But what is the best way to go to a party early? I mean, I guess late, but sometimes it's good to go early, okay? Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go right into it. Today we're going to be talking about redefining what it means to win in your 20s. Okay, this topic is so dear to me. And when I think about this topic, all I can think about is a college student right now and drawing out their plans on how they're going to, finish college and then get an internship, and after the internship full time while they're doing their full-time jobs, they find the love of their lives, they get married, continue to climb the corporate ladder and then become an executive, a vice president, director, managing director someday. At least that was my plan. But redefining success means I don't have to follow one plan for me to feel like I'm successful. And that is something that I've been learning recently. I've been learning that a lot and bringing that to the podcast today. It's so fulfilling. But I'm not coming alone. I'm not doing this alone. I have solid 4 or 5 friends that gave me their stories on how they've redefined success, what it looked like before and how it is right now and what made it so. So we're going to be hearing their stories, but first off, I want us to look at some data. Today, I have a survey from Citizens 2025 Young Adult Survey. It says 26% of young adults, Gen Zs, are still interested in climbing the corporate ladder. Let's sit with that for a second. 26% of young adults are still interested in climbing the corporate ladder. So the story I just told you about a college student still in school trying to, create their 10-year plan or 5-year plan involves climbing the corporate ladder, at least some, because I know some people are actually just stuck on, yeah, once I'm done with college, I'm doing my own thing. And that's okay. That is okay. But I know a lot of people are thinking about corporate ladder as well. At least that's what I think. But a lot of the data that I am seeing, especially this survey put out by Citizens, is telling us that a lot of people are not really interested in that anymore. They're no longer interested in, yeah, let me climb the corporate ladder. And that is shocking to me. That is shocking to me. My first reaction to that was, well, good for the 26% of people because they get to climb faster. I think, I guess, maybe not. But that is what I think about when I hear that. It is insane. It is insane. 26% of young adults. And so what are the rest of the people doing? What are the rest of the young adults doing? A lot of them, based on the survey, are thinking of doing their own thing. They're going into entrepreneurship. They're going into starting their own businesses. I've even heard a lot of people talking about, buying businesses. This is the trend. We have also seen an influx into the influencer space. And so people are redefining what success looks like, what financial success look like, right? And when we talk about success, we're not just talking about financial success because yes, that's the key thing that people do look at to say, is this person successful? But thinking about success is I'm looking at this from a financial perspective and saying, hey, yes, the money is there, but am I successful in my career, which is still sort of linked to money? Am I successful in the things that I saw myself, like things that gave me joy when I was a kid, things that made me, that tickled my fancies? And am I successful in that, in being the person that I thought I was going to be growing up? Am I successful in raising a family if that's what you like or that's what you want to do? Am I successful in my education? So success is in different buckets, but the one thing I really do like about success is the fact that it's always evolving. So we're always redefining what success is and what success means to me. What success meant to me a couple of years ago is different now. Life is living, and life lives for everyone. Okay, life lives for everyone. And so if we are focused on how we defined success a couple of years ago, some of us remain stuck in a fantasy or a mentality that keeps us from moving forward. And that is something that I had to learn recently. We need to keep redefining success, especially as in our 20s, because we are rich. We are rich with time. We have time. We do have the time to make changes. We have the time to make mistakes and recover from them without having to go through midlife crisis, like, they would define it. But we have time. And so when people are like, oh, yeah, I'm not wealthy, you are rich, basically, because you have the time to try different things. You're not married yet. You don't have anyone, depending on you, or any kids depending on you. You can try it. You can go out there and make errors and do whatever you want and make mistakes in your 20. And you don't even know where that would lead to. That may lead to you being successful. And that's how you redefine success. That's how you define success as you go on in life. Success is not one size fit all. Someone that has $100,000 in their account could consider themselves, and others could consider them successful, while others may not, and they would consider a millionaire successful. I think it's a good place for us to pause and actually hear from one of my friends who gave a story on how they redefined success. This really ties into it, guys. Okay. This person says, when I was younger, I had this random number in my head, $32,000 a year. I don't even fully know why, but at the time that felt like the magic number. As I got older, that definition changed. I started thinking success meant becoming a millionaire, having a lot of money, and being able to live the kind of life I saw celebrities living. We are going to talk about that because social media is influencing a lot of people, a lot of lives, and a lot of ways where people define and redefine success. We're going to get to that. They're just doing what they love, having freedom, and not feeling limited. But now, success means more than just money. It means getting better day by day, becoming the man God called me to be, and still having big goals like becoming a multi-millionaire. Cluck it, cluck it, cluck it. That is the goal. That is the goal. I'm not stuck. I'm not limiting myself. The sky is really not the limit. I can even become more than a millionaire. And this person is saying he can even become a multi-millionaire. Come on. Success looks like having a healthy wife with a smile on her face, not worried about what she's going to eat, and the kids who are healthy, safe, and fully provided for. It means being healthy myself, owning multiple homes, and building enough stability that my children won't have to carry the burden of student loans the way many of us had to. Yes. It also means both sides of my family are cared for, my immediate family and my extended family. Success is having community, serving in church, meeting my goals, living a life that has purpose. Come on, preach. To me, success is not just about having how much money you have, but who you become, who you impact, and whether you're building a life that brings peace, freedom, stability, and fulfillment. That is powerful. I need to pause to really take that in. That is so powerful. It's really the way it ended. Success is the impact you have. Do you feel fulfilled? And for me, that's how I'm redefining success in my 20s. Success to me is about fulfillment. Success to me is about the impact I'm able to make along the way. This life was really a landmine. how much success, how much lives can I impact as I move along the way. That is success to me. And if I'm able to impact as many lives and live according to the purpose that God has called me to, I feel successful. And now, purpose is a very deep topic, a very big thing that we cannot even get to today. But knowing your purpose on time, knowing what you're called to do in every aspect of life, if your job is your purpose, if you're supposed to be serving in church, if you're whatever you're supposed to be doing, knowing your purpose is a key thing to actually being successful in life. How do you get to know your purpose? How do you get to impact people? How can you position yourself to be successful in the areas that you define it as? And for you, you may not define success as, being impactful or feeling fulfilled. Some people may still define success as, the material money and actually having money in your bank account and being wealthy. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because some people are actually called to be wealthy. Some people are called to be kingdom financiers. Yes, for real. So some people are called to serve in church, but some people are called to be kingdom financiers. So you cannot look at other people prioritizing different things and say, hey, they must not care about other people or care to impact other people, but what they're called to do and the purpose, their purpose is different from yours. So mind your own business, do what you're called to do, focus on your own purpose and allow other people live the lives that they're called to do. Live the lives that they have been instructed to live. That is relearning and redefining what success means to you, as opposed to judging what success could look like to other people. That is so powerful. I really do love the story. Oh my gosh. And when we talk about success, we don't just, like I said before, look at it in the bucket of wealth. So, what is succeeding? For example, if you're a college student listening to this and you're saying, okay, well, but I'm still in school, how can I redefine success? Success is not just looking at a class or a course and saying, yeah, if I can get an A in that class, I'm successful. Success could be redefined or could be defined for you as, how much am I able to learn? Not just how much can I learn now so I can pass this class. Because I think that the people that do get the best out of school are not the people that actually get the best results. They are the people that retain the information that they get from that course and are able to apply it to life. That is the key. If I got an A in computer science and I graduated, and now I don't even remember what I studied in the class. I don't even remember what the teacher said about, computers or networks and all of that. But the other person who got a C or a B was able to retain more. By that time, maybe could not bring out or talk about it or write about it in the way that I had. And so they got a C or a B, but they're able to apply it to their lives. I think that they got the most and they're most successful. However, my paper and my result shows that, hey, I aced computer science, but are you able to apply it to other parts of your life? And so success to some people, some college students listening to this could be, yeah, success to me is getting good grades. I don't really care how I apply that. Success to some other person could be, I need to understand the concept because I know I want to go into software engineering. And so I need to understand the concept so I don't end up struggling at the end of the day. So that is defining success in different ways. This is a good time to read this story that I got from my friend. Guys, this is really, I let me just go right into it because I think that is the way you're going to understand this. This person says, growing up, I always thought success had to be loud and explosive. I remember thinking I wanted to be the president of the World Bank. Not because I really understood what the World Bank did or different groups within the World Bank, like the IMF or IFC, but because it sounded big. It sounded powerful. It was a kind of title that made people stop and say, wow. I feel that. I feel that for sure. Because if anyone tells me they work at the World Bank, I'm like, oh, okay, girl. Okay. you know? So I definitely feel that. I realized pretty quickly that my definition of success was tied to how people saw me. Mm. It was about perception. It was about being seen as important, impactful, and almost larger than life. But now my definition of success has changed completely. Success to me is about the process. It's about mindset. It's about state of being. It's about the ability to pick yourself back up when it feels impossible. This could even turn to a rap. What are you talking about? That is tea, girl. Come on. It's the ability to rest. It's having hard conversations with yourself, with your friends, with your family. It's humility. It's setting your ego aside and choosing growth in every area of your life. In your relationships, in your friendships, in your career, in your relationship with God, and in how you see yourself. Success is about the end result. It's about doing the things you don't feel like doing, but choosing to do them anyway. Oh, it's about doing the things you don't feel like doing, but choosing to do them anyway. Success, discipline, all in one. Because to be successful is still choosing to do what you don't feel like doing. Absolutely. Absolutely. What? Absolutely. Redefining success doesn't mean that we're not going to be successful in whatever way we define success or redefine success. So choosing to do it is saying, I need to be successful in this way I have defined it. Success to me is impacting lives and being able to move around or have talks or, be an influencer, whatever that may look like for you. But you still need to make the decision to be disciplined so that you can be successful. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. In your relationship, your friendship, your career, your relationship with God, in how you see yourself. Oh, I read that part already. It's forgiveness. It's finding joy in seasons that feel confusing or uncertain. Joy is another deep word. These people are just dropping like words that we actually need to talk about. Purpose, joy. Whew. Because joy is not happiness. It's absolutely no happiness. It's doing the hard thing. It's choosing discipline over immediate gratification. And sometimes it's simply choosing yourself. Preach. My definition of success has shifted. Listen to this. My definition of success has shifted from how the world sees me to who I truly am. Success is showing up for yourself, it's choosing yourself, it's walking away from toxic relationships and deciding that you deserve better. It's loving people even when it's not easy. That's tough. That one is tough. It's honesty, it's growth. Success is everything in between, the good, the bad, and the messy. But it's never just the final product. It's never just the final product. And that's where I want us to actually pause and really take in. It's never the final product because some people, a lot of us, me included, I look at success as the end road, the goal. At the end of the day, at the end of this thing I'm doing, I want to be successful. But it's not the final product. Success is the journey to where you want to go. Success is not the final product of something you're doing. For example, the college example I was given, you're reading for your exam, you're reading for your test. And to be successful, you want a good grade, using the example of someone that defines success that way. But for the other person to be successful, they need to understand. So it's not the end product of getting a good grade or being or understanding or being able to apply the thing that the person is learning in the future. The thing that is actually successful is actually understanding as you read. And for the person that defines success as a good grade, is making sure that you understand the concept so that you apply it when you're writing your exams and you want a good grade right after that. So it is the process. And same thing with our career. It's not at the end of the day, I want to be promoted. It is the relationships that we build with our coworkers. It is the success is the the learning process, understanding the process with how you do your job. As a family, as a mother, and as a father, it is the learning and unlearning how it is to train children. It is learning and evolving. It is not the final product. There's something else she said that I want to talk about. It says she's no longer looking at success the way the world sees her, but who she truly is. And that's where I want to talk about social media. Social media has really created a dark hole, a black hole in the lives of people and in the way they define success. Because, oh yeah, I just started this channel, and for me to be successful, XYZ amount of people need to listen to it. I need to have XYZ subscribers by a date that I give myself, and if that's not the case, then I'm not successful. No. Although I do want you to subscribe, because if you want to hear more of this and you want more of this juiciness and you want to hear more stories, I'm going to be having guests on my podcast. I'm going to, be inviting people, talking about topics that I'm sure you're thinking about. Then you should subscribe. Then you should definitely subscribe. But as I was saying, success is not about putting a number to the amount of subscribers I should have or the amount of likes by end dates and giving a date. Or if I don't get it by this date, or if I continue posting videos and no one follows me, then I'm not successful. No, that is definitely not the definition of success. And some people may define success that way. But success is the process. I don't think you even want to see my setup right now. I had to put things together because, like I said in one of my podcasts, one of my episodes, I talked about how when you have momentum, you play into that momentum to actually do things. You don't say, oh, yeah, now I have the momentum. Let me try to figure out what I want to do. Now is the time I plan. Now is the time I do whatever. You play into that momentum to say, okay, yeah, let me actually get work done. So when I had the momentum, I set things up. I have different household items and I just put them together because I needed to record this video. That process, that learning process, even the camera setting, that is success. It's not about the subscribers or the likes. I'm already learning. I'm already understanding. I do want the likes. I do want the subscriber. I do want to have that reach. But the process is me having success throughout the journey. That is so important. That is so important. I do want us to read the next story. Okay. So this person says, and I'm going to read two at a go because I think it sort of ties in together. This person says, when I was in school, success had a clear shape in mind. It looked like landing internships, securing a full-time job right after graduation, and steadily climbing the corporate ladder. I also tied it to having a solid circle of friends, always being out, always having something happening, always being out. That one. In my head, it was almost like a highlight reel that never slowed down. A mix of achievement, social life, and constant motion. But now my view of success has shifted in a way I did not expect it. It is less about titles or timelines and more about how I navigate life as it actually unfolds. I realized I did not fully account for the ups and downs when I was planning those 5 or 10 year goals. So today, success to me looks like being grounded and still choosing joy through different seasons, even when things do not go as planned. It is about winning in every situation life throws at me, not just the ones I prepared for. I want to unpack there, but let's read the next person. It says, back then, success to me was deeply tied to age. I was always more impressed by someone who achieved something younger than someone who achieved it later in life. So, okay, I get what she's saying. She's saying if you're young and you achieve something, she doesn't really regard it as much as if you're old and you achieve something, she doesn't really regard it as much as she would if a young person was to achieve the same thing. That makes sense. Okay. If I saw a successful 60-year-old, I respected it, but in mind, I thought they had years of experience and time to get there. But seeing someone in their 20s accomplish something major felt extraordinary to me. I also put a lot of pressure on myself to reach certain milestones by certain ages as if success had an expiration date. What was I talking about with the subscriber? Exactly. It doesn't have an expiration date. It doesn't have a timeline. Success is success. make success the journey. Okay, I know I keep saying that, but yeah, make success the journey. Now I've come to understand success very differently. It is less about when it happens and more about who you become through the process. Success is peace of mind, resilience, falling down and finding the strength to rise again. I'd be lying if I said I never slip into comparing success with age, but I'm quicker now to remind myself that success has no deadline. It can happen at any stage of life. And listen, it's just as meaningful. It's just as meaningful. The first person I want to talk about something that they actually said. They talked about the corporate ladder. I remember the statistics I gave at the start of the show. If you don't remember, it was 26% of people, of young adults specifically, are no longer interested in climbing the corporate ladder. And this person right here is talking about that was their goal. That was how they defined success. And then that shifted into talking about how they didn't plan for the ups and downs. And that part I want us to talk about, because a lot of times we talk about success like life is just a bed of roses, and if you stick to plan, things are going to work out. Sometimes you stick to plan and life just has other ways of making you really come down or change your path in general. You just change directions. So success is realizing that things can happen, plans can change, and making sure that you change and you adapt to that change. This person talks about how they didn't plan for the ups and downs. Life has ups and downs. Like I was talking about, lives. And so success is finding our way and our path as life keeps living. It is not giving up. It is not feeling down. It is not, regretting or anything like that. My previous episode actually talked about how, I'm better now with like the way I deal with things, or the mindset that I have when things actually happen. And that is so key. It is changing your mindset and changing the way that you see things as life happens. That is redefining success. So now, my previous episode was talking about me redefining success in that way, because I've redefined success of when things happen, how can I still be successful in that thing that is happening? That is success right there. Not getting out of that disappointment or depression mindset, and actually go listen to it, because I don't want to give you all the tea. Okay, go listen to that podcast and that episode if you want to get all that tea. The second person that I read talked about how she was tying success to age. Tying success to age. Success does not have expiration dates, as she has clearly talked about. It really doesn't. You can start over at any age. You may be 45 listening to this. I know the title says redefining it in your 20s. However, the reason why the title says redefining it in your 20s is because a lot of people my age, Gen Zs, don't think they need to redefine it at this age and at this time. But it can be redefined even as early as now. So, but are you 40? Are you 45? And you're like, oh, it's too late. I can't start over. No, you can. You absolutely can. You absolutely can start over. It doesn't have an age. It doesn't have an expiration date. You can be successful at the age of 50 and 60. And what you wanted to do at 20, you can do it at 60 and still be considered successful. Okay? The way you define it, not the way the world defines it. Okay? Even the way the world defines it. However, the social media definition of success and whatever you're trying to do is, it is still successful whatever age you achieve it. And I know she talked about the years of experience and all of that. Yes, but you had years of experience of unlearning and relearning. That alone is success, because not everyone can unlearn what they have learned or what they're used to because of the background and all of that. So you unlearning and relearning so that you can then be successful is success in its own self. Okay, so success doesn't have any expiration date, and I'm so glad that she talks about how now she has redefined success to understand that it doesn't have expiration date, and it is important and is excellent, is extraordinary at any age. I love that. I love that. Man, my friends are actually really awesome people. I keep reading these things, and I'm just so excited every time I pick it up. And so the last testimony, or story rather, that I do have for us today is a very dear friend of mine. She says, for me, how I define success now versus before is similar at its core, but it has evolved. It has evolved. Success has always meant financial freedom to me, but not just that. I've always wanted a well rounded life. I've always believed that I could do anything I set my mind to. And you can, no matter the starting point, as long as I am willing to work for it, I could achieve it. So, success for me has always included financial freedom, but the relationships around me, my friends, family, life balance, performance has always been important in how I define success. I've always wanted the freedom to enjoy life, to be able to afford the things that I want, travel when I want, and experience life fully. I would say the biggest difference between how I viewed success then and now is that now I want to enjoy the journey. What have I been preaching? Come on, sis. Before, I was constantly grinding, no breaks, no pauses. It was always about what's next, what's more. How can I push harder? But now I've learned to slow down a bit, to relax, to actually enjoy the process while still working toward my goals. I've also learned that working hard doesn't always equal success. We're coming back to that for sure. Yes, hard work matters, but there's also a level of grace that comes with success. You can work extremely hard and still not see the results you expect right away. And sometimes things come to you in ways you didn't plan. My journey, honestly, has been one filled with grace and favor. So now success to me is still about financial freedom, okay? Success to me, listen. If I lost you, come back, come back. She said success to me is still about financial freedom, still about relationships, still about living fully, but is also about enjoying the journey, trusting the process, and recognizing that not everything comes purely from effort alone. Not everything comes purely from effort alone. That is so key, guys. That is really so key. That is so key. I want us to go back to what she said about not working hard is not the same as being successful, because a lot of people think if I can just work as hard, I can be successful. Now that result may be and may happen a lot of times because you're working hard, and I'm not in any way diminishing hard work, because we need that. We need to work hard towards our success and have discipline throughout. But it's not every time and in every situation that hard work does equal success. Success could mean that you didn't even have to apply for the job. You just really tapped into your connection with people or your relationship with people, and that someone just said, oh, yeah, you should apply, and they referred you and all of that. Success is not success is not about just, oh, yeah, how can I do this? How can I be hardworking? It really is plain as day. And like she said, rightfully so, success sometimes is just about the grace of God. It's about having grace, about being favored, being praying and just saying, God, as I'm about to go into this, let your favor go before me. It may have nothing to do with hard work and you're still successful. It doesn't take away the fact that, oh yeah, this person had to work hard and this person did not. So why can't we even put them on the same scale? And I know the part that you're thinking about, I'm also thinking about when we talk about privileged kids. Oh, you were born with a silver spoon. So what? So what? They had a better starting point, but if they didn't do anything, then they wouldn't be who they are today. You wouldn't know about them. Even if all they do is post or be influencers, you wouldn't know about them. That is hard work on its own. But yes, they have a different starting point, but they had to work on being successful themselves. So, what am I saying? What is all of this about? Why are we even talking about this? What's the point? The point is when you're in your 20s, and as we keep growing and we keep learning about life, we're still young, so we have a lot to learn. And if you're older than this listening to this, we still have a lot to learn, okay? We have a lot to learn. And so, life is about learning and relearning. It is evolving, redefining, evolving, and just learning as we go is the beauty of life. And it's in that that we get successful. That will be all for today. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's podcast. Again, my name is Ruth Uche. I am your host for Ruth Be Told, and I'm so glad that you stayed to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or just listen to this audio only, you can find me on YouTube at Ruth Be Told Pod. Ruth Be Told Pod. Don't forget to subscribe to stay ahead and to check in with me, okay? I'm gonna be posting every 2 weeks on Thursdays, so you don't want to miss it. Until then, I'll talk to you later. Stay safe. Bye.